Hey, I am Patrick, the drummer from the blackened heavy metal band NITE from San Francisco, California. My favorite artist is a drummer named Cozy Powell, probably best known for his work in Rainbow. He also played with Black Sabbath and Michael Schenker Group, Whitesnake, tons of people. So not a traditional band or artist, but as a drummer, I had to pick Cozy Powell because he was the man. R.I.P.
Let's be honest. When Cozy started releasing albums, you were not necessarily already around, or even not just around. Like, forget about being a metalhead. A spark in your father's eye, maybe. When did you discover his work? Was that early on, or was that way after the fact that you got already into metal?
I think I was probably already into metal and gotten really into Dio, and especially Dio's work with Black Sabbath. So I pretty much just wanted to know everything that Dio had ever done. And when I made the connection that Dio was in a band with Ritchie Blackmore from Deep Purple, my high school mind was just blown. I was like, what? I can't believe this is real. And so I got really into Rainbow, probably 17, 18 years old, and really impressed with the drum work, especially on Rainbow Rising. And I think that was the first album that really connected with me and made me realize this drummer was way ahead of his time, because he was doing heavy metal sounding stuff in the late 70s, pre Iron Maiden, pre Motorhead, pre all this stuff that I kind of identified as the foundations of heavy metal. So yeah, it was really a revelatory experience for me to discover that. And also that it was that early, in proto heavy metal kind of, I guess.
It's almost like a badge of honor for a band to have had Cozy, play with you, because if you think about it, it's been a lot of the greats, right? It's You mentioned already some of them. Some people might forget which I think is a pretty cool yet underrated album, Tear by Black Sabbath, that Cozy was also on.
Love that album. Yeah.
I'm not here to put words in your mouth. For people that want to get the deep dive or want to really explore Cozy, you're going to share some of your favorite songs that he recorded. Now, you didn't make it easy on yourself by choosing Cozy, because there are so many songs and so many classics as well. You mentioned you discovered him through Rainbow. Is Rainbow where we find one of your picks?
Yeah, definitely. I think the first thing I always think of is the first song on side 2 of Long Live Rock and Roll, Kill the King. Cozy's playing this double kick drum part, and it is it's almost like predicting Overkill, which didn't come till another year or two later, I think. And he even accents, even his snare accents, where he places the snare accents between the double kick pattern, really, really similar to what Phil would do on Overkill with Motorhead. Not saying Motorhead stole that or anything. It was definitely of the era, but I just love how high energy that song is, and it always just gets me super amped every time that song comes on. So I'm going to say Kill the King is probably my first pick. The second one would have to be, and I even have the records here with me, because I'm such a record nerd that I was I had to have Rising and Long Live Rock and Roll right next to me. But as a drummer, I have to say Stargazer, just because of that drum fill intro. It's such a big epic song, and it's a huge workout for Dio and everything. But I love that drum intro to Stargazer, and every drummer I know, loves it too, and has sat down and tried to play it. And I can play it, not as well as Cozy, obviously played it, but super fun song, just like always, again, like puts me in a great mood when I hear that song when it comes on. So I'd say that's probably my next favorite track.
There's no sun, the shadow of the wizard. See how he glides. Why?
Cozy's no longer with us for 25 plus years now.
Yeah.
Did you ever get a chance to see him perform?
I did not. I think I don't know when I even would have had the chance. I was aware of like, you know, when Sabbath was doing Forbidden and he rejoined, and you know had the whole like Ice-T cameo with Ernie C. I think was producing the record, which is you know not the best Sabbath record ever, but I was aware of that. But I don't think they toured on that album because it didn't do very well. And yeah, I mean, I knew what he was doing sort of in that era. And I was aware of him and like stuff with Brian May and that Yngwie album he was on. And he even like did that record with Peter Green, which is like, again, crazy. Like all the rock and roll connection, you know, and the history in that. But no, I never got to see him live, which bums me out. But there's so much video, you know, now, and like all the YouTube videos of him playing are just like excellent. Even just like the solo stuff he's doing with like the dueling drums and stuff. It's cheesy as hell, but like I absolutely love it.
Moving fast across the desert. We feel that our time is.
With all these, whether it was cheesy or not, but with all these elements, and you mentioned already that bringing some, you know, different styles of playing that would later become kind of like the norm. Is there one thing that you see today about your own playing or songwriting that you say like that clearly is my inspiration?
Yeah, I think somewhat. It's funny. I talk about this with my bands a lot just because it's been commented on in my live performance that I'm a very emotional, performative player. I like to move my arms a lot. There's a lot of hair flying. You know, so I try to sort of bring an element of showmanship to, you know, to modern drumming, which, you know, I think, you know, people like Bonham, obviously, and Cozy Powell, and, you know, Carmine, Mickey D, Carmine and Peachy, like those kind of original 70s guys that kept going sort of into the 80s that played really big drums. They all kind of played, you know, Ludwig's too, which Bonham got onto Ludwig's because of Carmine when they Zeppelin toured with Vanilla Fudge. And I think that's kind of was my introduction to like what I kind of saw as like a larger than life personality for a drummer, where like you played really big drums, you took really big swings at the drums. It's your hands are always over your head, and you're making it, you know, it's a performance. People are paying to see you. They don't want to see a drummer just sit there and like keep time in heavy metal. You want to, you know, be blown away by somebody who looks like they're about to like combust on stage because they're just like have so much energy flying off them. So I really just like try to give 110% because I watch all these videos from these, you know, heavy metal legends, and they just look like they're possessed.
Don't know if that was meant or not, but nice Spinal Tap reference there. All right, so song number 3 that you would recommend?
Ooh, probably of Headless Cross. I would say. Oh man, what song? I really like When Death Calls. So like you get to hear that like really cool Brian May guitar solo, which is always interesting because like, you know, Tony Iommi has such a distinct style and a distinct soloing style, and so like it's just such a different type of song for Sabbath, and I love that Brian May takes a solo in it, and I don't know, there's something really special about that album, and I feel like I don't know if, you know, it's just my group of friends or not, but like I feel like it's had this renaissance the last couple of years where people are just like rediscovering it or just realizing like what a good record it was, because it just, you know, like that era of Sabbath didn't really it just got looked over.
Sabbath is like being reduced these days as which era was better? Was it Ozzy or Dio? Which, in all fairness, I think those might be the two best eras. But there is a lot of, and there are some not so great things that happened as well. But there are some great albums that followed when Sabbath was having like a new lineup every year, basically in the 80s.
Totally.
That you're right.
Well, and I've read a thing too that's like it said somewhere that I think Tony Martin did. He was like he had the second most albums as lead singer for Sabbath, which is like he didn't do more than Ozzy, but I get people that even are like call themselves Sabbath fans like aren't even aware of like the Tony Martin albums, and it's like they're so good and they're so they're so easily overlooked. And I do think it was, it was the lineup of the band at the time was a different era for sure. But I do think that Cozy brought this like flair of like a really just kind of like bombastic, showy kind of drummer. And he definitely, comes from a Bonham sort of school of approaching the drums, but I think he has his own really kind of like special feel and kind of swing to things that I really appreciate. So yeah, it's hard to choose though. You're right. There's a lot of options with a career as long as he had, which is crazy that it was like, he died relatively young, right? He could have been still making albums today.
1998, if I remember correctly, with a car crash. And I think his first album was with Jeff Beck Group in 1971. So I mean, he wasn't in his 20s anymore, but he would have likely still been recording and playing today.
Totally.
So it's it's definitely a shame. You mentioned already, like, you've been inspired by the big, powerful, giving a performance.
Totally.
Nice segue to the fact that you are going to be giving quite a few performances. There's some interesting news coming out of the NITE camp. So to wrap us up, Pat, what can you share with all the fans watching this video?
So just today, NITE announced our tour in February 2023. It is the California World Tour 2023. We're going out with our friends Persekutor, who are a Romanian ice metal band via Los Angeles. That's their home base, but Romania is in their heart. So that is February 16th through 19th. We're doing Oakland, Long Beach, someplace called Hollywood. I've never heard of it. And then we wrap it up in San Diego, California. So it's going to be the first of many announcements for NITE this year. It's just our first tour that we're able to announce. We have a bunch of other exciting stuff coming, and we would love to see our friends on the California coast come out and support.
Patrick, thank you so much for sharing a little bit of a glimpse into your influences and what Cozy meant to you. Thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to seeing you guys on this stage real soon.
Awesome, man. We look forward to seeing you. Thanks, Jasper.